What is up, guys, gals, and non-binary pals? My name's Naomi. Welcome to House of Miscellania. I'm coming at you with a WIP in chat. WIP stands for Work in Progress. So for those of you who are not familiar with WIP and chats, I'm going to talk to you for about an hour, and I'm going to work on my diamond painting and tell you about my life. Again, my name's Naomi. For those who are new, welcome. If you're joining me, welcome back. And I hope you've had a great week. I have my tools out here in front of me. I'll tell you about those. And then I'm going to tell you about this canvas that is being worked on here in just a second. But my tools, I'm using a pen from Diamond Pen Pal. This one is the Satura pen that they did. They did it a couple of years back, and then they reprised for Mary Morales, and then they sent this one to me. I bought it. So this in my multi-placer has eggnog scent from Putty Crocker. Oh, you can find Diamond Pen Pal on Etsy. Putty Crocker. This is the eggnog scent. Yes, I'm still doing Christmas smells because I like the smell, all right? I can't get over it. But I'm using this from Putty Crocker. You can find Putty Crocker at puttycrockersboutique.com. And then you can also find them over on Facebook. And then in my single placer here, I am using Ghost from Diamond Painting Daily over on Etsy. This is their little symbol you want to look for. And this is sort of like a glue dot. It is beautiful on ABs. It's a liquid that turns solid and goes from white to clear when it dries, and it works beautifully. I love this stuff. Highly recommend it. You need to try Ghost if you have not yet. Seriously, swear by this. And then in this pen here from, oh, look at it, so beautiful. This is from Peachy Keen Pens, and it is already preloaded with this multi-placer and single placer with Ghost, so I always keep it around and check it out. Listen. It has a rattle inside of it. It's so much fun. Excuse me. And then in my tray here, besides goodies that I always keep in my tray, you know, gotta have your hand lotion if you're doing, you know, things, unboxings and whatever. I got some, you know, chapstick style. But this is a beautiful trinket tray. This is from Pucky Pie Pours Alliteration. Gotta love it. Check out those fish. Look at those fish. And this one, you can find Pucky Pie Pours over on La Face Book, yes. And then a tray here. This is from Ephemera 3D. They are on Etsy as well. This is the Deep 6, and I love this thing. They've got a couple different style trays, this one and the Totem, but I'm using this one. Yes, it's from Mary Morales, but you know what? I love the tray, and I use it all the time, so... All right, let me reload my things into my trinket tray here so they're out of my way. I've got a whole bunch of stuff to talk to you guys about, so I'm trying to speed through my tools. I'm so sorry if I'm just like, I apologize. I'm not normally that wound up, but this diamond painting here is from Ever After, which is a brand new company. By the time that you're watching this on Wednesday, they will be launching on Friday, despite the tariffs, as far as I know. I'm not going to get political. I'm just going to, you know, let you know about that. But this is Dorothy's Friends by Shay J. Reed from Ever After Diamond Painting. You can find them on Facebook as well as Instagram. They're going to be doing some giveaways from now until launch and through the weekend, this weekend from the time that I'm posting this. So go and check out Ever After Diamond Painting on Facebook. And thank you to Ever After for sending this along. Oh, I could probably show you where I am in the painting, huh? Because I've already done a row and I'm into the second row. So you can see like the yellow brick road here. And I'm going to be doing... let's see, there's Toto's face, and then a little bit of the Scarecrow's face is in there as well. So you can see right here is like the side of Toto's face. And then I think underneath, hold on, whoop, we're going to be doing Toto's face and the Scarecrow's face. So that's exciting. Bam. All right. Now, sorry I was talking so fast. I just wanted to get us into the process so I can get started. Now, welcome to those who are new. Like I said, if you have never watched my channel before and you're joining me for the first time on this WIP and chat, I welcome you. Thank you for being here. I am extra annoying today, so I apologize for that. Just that I've got a lot of things on my mind. It was actually a really busy week. Put some lotion on my dry ass hands. And you know, I'm not normally this, like, I would say caffeinated, but I'm always this caffeinated. I am just, I have a lot of things to get through. And those of you who are not new, you know, like I'm not normally this wound up, but I still have energy, right? Well, also, if you are new, at the end, I will be drawing a tarot card for a thought for the week for us and reading about that. I've already shuffled them. But let me get into things. Okay, so first, I want to explain why I've got a Band-Aid here. I'm not going to take the Band-Aid off, but I was cooking some dinner a few days ago. And while I was making spaghetti sauce, I had noticed it was bubbling really hard and I had the lid on it. So it's like, all right, I have a gas stove and I turned the heat down. So it's like, oh, it's getting a little serious here. You know, I don't need it to be that hot because it's going to burn me. Look how hard it's bubbling. So I turned the heat down. I waited. I didn't like immediately take the lid off to stir it. I gave it a little time, you know, whatever. And then when I lifted the lid off with my left hand because I was going to stir it with my right. And when I did so, a bubble popped right from the middle of the sauce and then landed sauce on my wrist right here and burnt me instantly. Like I had a 2nd-degree burn the moment that I put my hand under cold water to, you know, bring the temp down. Oh my gosh, I had a blister within moments. So I knew like, yeah, it was real effing hot. So that's why with the Band-Aid, I apologize. It's weird. I know. So I'm trying to keep it hidden back here. But yeah, the week has been, I've said this before. I feel like my weeks are either incredibly boring and nothing happens or everything happens all in one week. And this was one of those everything happened all in one week sort of things. Like there were just a lot of interesting things that happened. I have lots to tell you about. Aside from burning the ash out of myself with a sauce, had a lot go on. Okay, so, first and foremost, for those who voted in the poll on my community, I appreciate you answering whether or not you would be interested in a member level wherein you would receive a tarot card reading once a month. That is now active, and you may feel free to sign up anytime. It is here on YouTube, so if you go down into the description box there, it should have a link to my membership area. Otherwise, if you are on my page, on my YouTube page, like directly, I think there's a tab for it. But if you have any difficulties and you're trying to sign up, please let me know. I will try and help you out. Just shoot me an email, houseofmiscellania@gmail.com, or you can reach me on Discord. There should be a link down in the description for the Discord, or you can find me on Facebook. If you just look up Naomi House of Miscellania, I'm on Facebook. You can find me any old way, but all of my socials should be down in the description if you're looking for me. Email and Discord are probably the easiest two methods, but anyways, I opened that level. I got to thinking about it. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to pull the trigger. If no one signs up, then no one signs up, but it's there. So that being said, I know that there's a couple people that really want to sign up, and anytime. You can sign up, you can cancel anytime, totally up to you. Otherwise, I do have a member level wherein it's less expensive. It's $4.99, and you can get access to my videos early, like basically right when I post them, you have access to them. Right now, this is one thing I've been busy with. I did the sneak peek for this, and then that was posted a little bit early for my members. However, I also have my stash video. It is recorded. It is ready to go, and I'm excited about it. It will be for members. You can already see it in both like forms. I did it as a long form video where it's all together in one video, and then I did another where it's in 3 parts, so that if you don't want to watch the whole video, you like bite-sized videos, then you can watch it in 3 sections. The whole stash video, like the entirety, that will post on Friday, and then next Monday, unless you're a member, you have access to it now. On Monday is the that is the 3-part, and that will be posted all at one time so that you can view it one right after the other. Like, you don't have to wait a week or whatever for the next portion. It's there because you can already access the whole video on Friday, and then Monday I break it into 3 small parts. So I didn't want to dump everything on Friday just because I thought that would be really confusing if people, you know, like they watched the long form and then they think that there's another version of it or something. So I didn't want to make it confusing, and I explain in the long form video like what exactly I'm doing. So I'm hoping people don't get too confused on that, but I guess we'll see, you know. Anyways, so stash videos will be out Friday and Monday. That's exciting. I've been continuing work over at my in-laws' house on the garage, and we've got the whole garage torn up. I'm hoping that in the next week I will be able to go over, maybe 2 weeks. Just kind of depends on how much we can get done and moved, and like we're literally redesigning the entire garage to make it easier so we're not like stumbling all over each other to work in there at the same time, because you know he has wood projects he's doing at the same time sometimes that I have my pens that I'm turning, so we need to be able to work in there at the same time and not be in each other's way. So there's that. I am excited to see that done so that I can get over there and get some of my Zodiac pens made. I'm super stoked about that. What else? There was, what does that mean? Sorry, I wrote little notes to remind myself. Oh, the new company. Yeah, I talked about Ever After Diamond Painting Company, and I'm excited to work with them. I know that right now in our community, like everything is kind of up in the air, and I'm very sad for a lot of my friends. I'm not going to talk about politics. I like to keep that off of my YouTube. As you guys know, politics really make me anxious generally anyways. And so I'm not trying to add to somebody else's anxiety by talking about politics. But I will say that, you know, I do have a lot of, I guess, friends, acquaintances. I mean, I consider myself to be friends with them. Maybe they're not friends with me. Maybe I'm just an acquaintance to them. But my friends who and acquaintances who own companies, diamond painting companies, small shops that are being affected, and they're really like in question mark mode as to what their lives are going to look like soon. I mean, they're talking about 104% tariffs on diamond paintings, and it's killing some women-owned, operated, you know, owned and operated businesses. And that's really unfortunate. I feel for my friends and the way that they are very scared right now and unsure about what their lives and their businesses are going to look like in a couple of weeks. Because as of the time you're watching this, like these tariffs have already been enacted. And so, you know, I understand that there's no real point in getting worked up and upset and things because I can't change anything. But I'm one of those people that I really kind of, I live and breathe and feed off of other people's energies, and it's really scary right now. It's really scary right now in our community. And no matter how you vote, everybody is feeling it. You know what I mean? Like politics aside, everybody is feeling it. So that said, I don't know what's happening over there, but it sounds like Beans is just huffing and puffing or something. Anyways, what else? Oh, I've got an upcoming, take a drink. 1 second. Hold on. Sorry, I needed to whet my whistle. I will have an unboxing coming up from Enablers Outpost, which I'm really stoked about. Elizabeth from Enablers is going to send me a kit to unbox on my channel and check that out and see how I like it. And I'm very excited about that. Oh, that might have even been Bowie. Yeah, I think it was. Oh, speaking... Okay. Enablers Outpost. I will come back to that in just a moment. Let me tell you about what Bowie did this week. Okay, little graphic. I apologize. A little bit graphic. Not like horrible, but a little bit graphic. Okay, so here's the thing. Bowie's been extra naughty lately. I think it's to do with her wanting more attention. Like Beans is getting a lot of attention and she wants to get attention, so she's been acting out in a lot of different ways. And one of the ways in which she has been acting out is to get into things, eat things she's not supposed to, get into the garbages and rip things up like toilet paper and garbage that's in the garbage can, including feminine products, and she's just been extra bad. Well, recently we had pizza, and usually, you know, if we make a frozen pizza, we'll leave a couple pieces of cold pizza up on the stove for a while. You know what I mean? Like not for days, but like overnight or less than. Usually somebody will get hungry and munch on that last piece or two of pizza. Well, I had decided to take Beans for a walk, and I knew it had to be Bowie because this happened while we were gone. I get back and the pizza is gone off the stove. And she's not a big dog. Like, she is a border collie. She's pretty small. So it's kind of a feat for her to get up on the stove and get at food that's up there. So it was sort of like, what is this about? Well, within a couple of days, I noticed that she was acting really lethargic. I wasn't sure what was going on. She wasn't like, she was eating food, but, you know, I decided, I was like, okay, I'm gonna, just to make sure that everything is okay, I decided, okay, I'm gonna make the dogs a diet of like rice with chicken broth. I cut up some like a couple of breakfast sausages. I cut them up into fine pieces and I put them in with the chicken broth, and I had like boiled carrots in there. Like, it was a very nutritional, valued, but easy on the stomach meal. Okay. Well, so I make this food. I give I let it cool down. I give the portions to each dog. Like Sugar had some, Beans had some, Bowie had some, and they each had their own bowls. And, you know, I always separate them. So like I'll give Sugar hers in a bowl in one area, Bowie hers in a bowl in one area, and Beans in his regular bowl because it's raised off the ground because he's a Great Pyrenees. He needs a bowl raised off the ground. Well, when I gave Bowie hers, even though it was still warm, I mean, it wasn't hot, like it wasn't going to burn her or anything, but even though it was still warm, she wolfed it down. And I mean, like, horked it down. She didn't, I don't think she chewed. I don't think she breathed. I think she just inhaled. There was food, she inhaled it. And the result of which she got up on Dustin's leather chair, and within, I would say, 5 minutes, she was sick. And here's where it gets a little bit graphic. There was some blood in her vomit. And so I was like, uh-oh, maybe I was right. Maybe there is something wrong. And I wanted to make sure she didn't have worms or, you know, anything really bad. I took her out for a walk later that same day. I was like, all right, let's go for a walk and, you know, kind of maybe try and settle your stomach a little bit. Like we didn't go for a run or anything, but we go for a walk. She goes to the bathroom and we get back to our yard and she had a number 2, and first it was like normal and then it was like liquid and it was bloody. And then I was really worried because now she has vomited a little bit of blood and then she pooped a little bit of blood. So I was like, uh-oh. I fasted the dogs. I was like, all right, I'm just going to fast you for 24 hours. The next meal will be like it before you have hard food. I want you to eat like just some rice with chicken broth and see how that goes down. And see how things return to normal, you know, see if your stool is still bloody, you know, whatever. So I did so. I made him rice, you know, whatever. This time I gave her like smaller, much smaller portions. Well, it was like she had rice PTSD because she ate it slower than I've seen her eat anything ever. And so later on, after she'd had her rice, whatever, I took her out to go to the bathroom, and she went to the bathroom and everything was back to normal. So I fed her regular food. Well, moral of the story is I think when she got up on the stove to get the piece of pizza, I think rather than chewing it, she wanted to hurry up and get it down before she got caught. Because, of course, I was gone. She didn't know how long I was going to be gone, when I was going to get back. I don't think she chewed it. I think she just literally inhaled it, and it kind of went in, you know, like semi-sideways, and probably ripped her up a little bit, you know, because she didn't chew it. She just sort of wolfed it down. And I think it probably could have, like, upset or even tore a little bit or scratched up her esophagus or her stomach lining or something, because, you know, as it traveled down, it wasn't obviously chewed or digested. It was just there. And so I'm going to keep an eye on it, but I think everything has returned to normal now. She hasn't vomited again. She hasn't pooed any liquids or anything. So I think we're all right. But man, was I nervous about that, because it was looking not great. Not great at all. But yeah, so okay, that's that. Enablers Outpost. Enablers Outpost, like I said, they're going to be sending me a new canvas from Colorful Cat Studios, which was one of the ones that I featured on during Mary Morales about the other watercolor artists in the community. So I'm really stoked about that. You'll see that unboxing will happen in the next week or two, I would imagine, from when it arrives. She said it was being mailed, so I should maybe see it even before the weekend. It mailed from her, so I'm not like waiting for a package from China that is never going to arrive or is going to come with a crazy tariff or something like that. So I'm looking forward to unboxing that. What else? Oh, Gods and Goddesses is still planned and in the works for June and July. And if you were wondering about like what sorts of kits would be okay for that, basically, if you can come up with a story about how that kit is a god or a goddess, I will accept it. End of story. As for the rules and things like that, it's going to be very laid back. Like this is more or less to get us together, diamond paint a canvas together of a theme, and then, you know, have a good time. Like that's the point of this. It's not meant to be super thought out and serious. Just an easygoing DP along for fun and entertainment. Okay. Oh, I'm going to save that for last. Told you about that. Told you about that. Okay. So, oh, I know what else I'll talk to you about. So I have a friend, a guy friend, friends of mine and Dustin. We've been friends. Well, Dustin's been friends with him since middle school. He is, a friend of mine since Dustin and I started dating like 20 years ago. So a person that I would consider to be almost like family at this point. And he is a recovering alcoholic. And I'm not going to get too much into his business, but he ran into an issue where his ex withheld some visitation from him because she found out that he had been consuming alcohol around their son during visitation, and she sort of pulled visitation from him. He called me very upset and was saying things like, you know, she can't keep him from me. I said, well, you know, you could take an officer over there, I suppose, and demand that you're able to see him, but you're intoxicated, so that would be a bad idea unless you want CPS up your butt. And, you know, I took him calling me as a good sign because he doesn't normally call me for advice or to ask questions or things like that. He usually talks to Dustin, and he knows that I've been in recovery for going on 6 years now. And I think he was kind of at that point, like asking for help, which is a good sign. And I'm cautiously optimistic that he will, maybe he's looking to make some changes. And I gave him some information on places that he could get help. And I'm really hoping that he, you know, took me up on it, because at this point it's for his son. It's, you know, it's hard because an addict or an alcoholic, like, they're not going to stop for a child or a loved one or whatever. They're going to quit for themselves only. And so I'm really hoping that it turns out that this is a catalyst which, you know, moves him in the right direction. You know what I mean? It's sad, but, you know, there it is. But I can hope. So lastly, things that happened during this week, because again, it was busy. It was a busy one, like lots of crazy things happened, and, you know, I'm just processing everything. Okay, so I'd asked Dustin to give some paperwork to his boss to fill out that we needed for some just like state paperwork that I needed his like employment verification stuff, right? And I'd asked him before to take it to work with him, get it signed, bring it back so I could turn it in. And he had told me, you know, like, yeah, I want to make sure I get it in front of my boss, and, you know, it doesn't get filed away somewhere. I just got to make sure that it's a time when he's not busy, da 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 da. Well, I knew he knew I was going to ask about it today, and so he calls me earlier this afternoon, And he's like, hey, just wanted to let you know that I have the paperwork. I haven't given it to my boss yet. And I was like, okay, like he's not there. Like, what's going on? He's like, well, we had a little bit of an issue. Now, for those of you who know me and know my husband, uh, even if you don't, he works for a car dealership. He used to work for AutoZone, and then he started as a parts manager, and now he works at a car dealership as like a parts salesperson for Mopar Parts. And you know, we had already kind of chatted about like what are the tariffs going to do for your job and da 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 blah blah blah. Well, then we were talking about the paperwork. So, anyways, he's like, yeah, so, and I thought he was going to say something about, yeah, well, you know, he's busy trying to figure out cost conversions or whatever for the tariffs and yada yada. No, he says, well, something happened overnight that we're dealing with today. And I was like, okay. And I knew we've been having some weather. We had had windstorms that one of their businesses, like the wind legitimately blew the showroom windows out. So I thought, maybe he was going to tell me something about that and whatever. No, that was not it. Apparently, someone went into the dealership, and in the dealership that he works at, there was, like in the showroom, there's used cars, there's new cars, and then also in the showroom is his, like the owner's personal vehicle that he bought, and it's sort of a showpiece, this vehicle, because it is a demon. A demon is, from my understanding, is a Dodge Challenger, but like with super souped up special parts, special engine, special all the things. And apparently his boss is one of like 10. I don't know if that's one of 10 in the United States or if that is one of 10 in the world. I'm not sure, but one of 10, either in the States or in the world, doesn't matter. One of 10. It's like a $400,000 vehicle. And he's got this thing parked in the showroom so that people can, view it or whatever, to draw to the showroom, so people will come look at cars. The same way that you would bring on a really well-known artist at a diamond painting company so that people come and look at the other artists that particular company has for viewing. Okay, sure. Well, so apparently what had happened was someone went in last night. They grabbed keys to a used vehicle and took the used vehicle, and I guess they found the keys behind the sales desk, like a salesman's desk or something, found the keys, used the used car to drive through the showroom window, essentially, like window/door, because that's, showrooms are sort of, they have windows, right? Well, they used the used car to drive through the showroom door/window, okay? Parked it outside, left the keys in it, whatever. Went back in, found the keys to this vehicle, the demon, and drove straight out with it, out the freshly broken showroom door/window. And, I'm thinking, oh, maybe somebody joyriding, whatever. Dustin's like, I'm sure it's on a shipping container right now, going to some Saudi Arabian prince or whatever, because apparently with this specific type of car, like, you can't even get parts for it without proving with a VIN number that you are the owner, because people have been taking, people had tried in the past to take demon parts, put them on a Dodge Challenger and pretend that it was a demon and, da 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 da. So you can't even buy parts for this thing without having the correct VIN number and what have you. I said, oh, wow, yeah, I can see why he wouldn't be able to fill out paperwork because he's busy with the police. I'm like, well, at least that footage will be fun to watch. He says, yeah, no, there is no footage because they have no cameras. You could have knocked me over with a feather. No freaking cameras. And I'm thinking like, okay, somebody had to have cased the joint. Like there had to have been a whole ass operation. And I'm like, did somebody like straight up Grand Theft Auto, the game, like video game this crap and like go in, steal the keys to a used car, like first you break into the used car, you drive that through the window so that when you get your Comet or your Spider or whatever the game has and you don't wreck your brand new one because you don't when you steal a car in Grand Theft Auto, you don't want it to look like crap. You don't want to have to go take it and repair it immediately because all the accidents you're inevitably going to get into or whatever. Yeah, no cameras. Not a one. I was like, how does that even happen? Like, somebody probably came in, got an oil change or something, did some recon. And I guess this isn't the first of its kind in the state. I guess there have been like a smattering of, different cars. And then I'm thinking like the Italian job, where they have like a list of specific cars that they need to get their hands on for the shipping container. And then everybody drives their, Mini Coopers or whatever. And I'm like thinking of all of these different heist movies. I'm like, this is fantastic. I feel horrible for, your owner. I mean, granted, this is a $400,000 car. I'm like, that's rough. That's really rough. And like, granted, okay, so, I'm sure he has insurance, right? Like on this particular car. So it's, he'll get his money back. But it's not the same. It's like somebody breaks into your, your house or whatever. They go take your most specialist toy. And then before they steal your most specialist toy, they take another toy and break it, right? Maybe not your most special toy, but another toy. And they break it simply to be able to get at whatever your most special toy is. Oh, that's rough. That's really rough. 1 of 10. And like, you can't replace it. It's not like he could take insurance money and go buy another one. He'll never get another one of these probably in his lifetime. No freaking cameras. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. That is ridiculous. So, I don't know. I'm assuming somebody will be fired. I don't know who will be fired, but maybe I'll hear about that later on. Dustin will be like, yeah, well, so-and-so who didn't lock because that's the thing. Like, okay, fine. You don't have cameras. Okay, I get it. Well, who was supposed to lock the keys? Like, what about wherever the keys go? Does that not have a lock on it? Like, do you not have alarms on the windows? Like, how does this even happen? I can't make sense of it. So somebody, I'm sure, is getting massively written up or fired. Like, what else are you gonna do? Just crazy. But I got a good laugh out of that. I was like, all right, I guess I can excuse the fact that your boss isn't there to, sign paperwork for what we need, but so stupid. And then other than that, I've been watching, and I've talked about it a few times, but I wanted to talk about it a little more in depth on here. Just some shows that I've been watching. One was Ancient Bodies, and can't remember if I talked about it last week or not, but it's like a history type show. It's from National Geographic, right? And they talk about mummies that are found in bogs in like Europe, and they're from like the Iron and Bronze Age. They're not like fresh people, right? They also talked about Ötzi, the Iceman that they found on the glacier, like on the mountain. That was talked about, and then they talked about the bog bodies, and then they talked about the mummies of these Inca mummy children that they found on one of the mountains. I cannot remember which one right off the top of my head, but it was one of the mountains. And like they sort of talk about in an anthropological way how the bog bodies would have gotten there, like what would have caused them to be in the bog, if it was a sacrifice, if it was a, fight, if it was something else. That was a really cool show. It's called Ancient Bodies. Ancient Bodies. Oh, I can't remember the full title. Did I write it down anywhere? Yeah, Ancient Bodies Secrets Revealed. Really, really, really enjoy that show because it sort of mixes like true crime with history. I'll probably go back and watch it again because it was really interesting to learn and just to have them kind of talk about, like the ways that they believe that these people ended up in these bogs. And I didn't know this, but there's bogs in like Germany, there's bogs in Denmark. They're in like peat bogs, right? Where like sphagnum moss is grown because it's like the perfect acidity and deprivation of oxygen in order to create mummies. It like essentially liquefies bone, but it like almost leatherizes the skin, and really cool stuff. And there's nothing like graphic in there. It's not like a graphic sort of thing, but I mean, they're mummies, so they look gross, but it's really cool though to hear them talk about how these different mummies got in these different places and what they would have been doing there, like how they got there, why they were there. Really, really interesting stuff. And so I watched that. I am kind of in the middle of rewatching AJ and the Queen, which is a really excellent show with RuPaul. That's on Netflix, I believe. Good stuff. As was Ancient Bodies, Secrets Revealed. That was also, I believe, on Netflix. And then lastly, this is a Netflix program as well. It's called Love on the Spectrum. And at first, I thought what I was going to be watching was like a competition show. And so I'd seen it. I swiped past it. I don't know how many times. Like meh, meh, meh. And finally, I caved and I decided, you know what, I'll give it a try. I'll see what it's about. I just wanted something feel good, and it said that it was a feel good show. And I was like, I don't know how a competition show could be a feel good show, but all right, fine, I'll check it out. And it didn't say competition, so I was like making assumptions. And you know what they say, when you assume, you make an ass of you and me? Well, I learned a lot, and honestly, I highly recommend, if you want a very heartwarming experience, check out Love on the Spectrum. There's a US version and there's an Australian version, and I watched the US version first. I'm just started the Australian version. It's so good, and it shows like the ways that people on the spectrum, how one, like depending on the severity of your specific type of autism, how it affects people. And then two, the fact that people, just because they're on the spectrum, does not mean that they are not capable of wanting a romantic relationship or even a sexual relationship. And they kind of follow the journey of these different young adults, and then in some cases older adults, trying to find love. And it sends them on, you know, these speed dating things, and it sends them to dates, you know, in various ways. You know, could be the show set them up with somebody, and in some cases, like, they do find love, and in some cases, you know, they think it's love, but it really just, it was different feelings. And there are some characters that I absolutely adore on that show. One of which is, her name is Danny. She is a animator who runs a animation business, like teaching kids on the spectrum how to do animation and stuff like that. And she is probably one of my absolute favorite on the show, because, like, you know, there's this thing with autism where, like, there's only literal speaking, right? In a lot of situations where those nuances of like double entendre or whatever are lost. And so, you know, just the raw, like, honesty that you get from people on the spectrum, it can be really funny to us. And they're sort of like, what did I say sort of situation. But it's so heartwarming. There's a guy named Connor, and he is like my spirit animal. Honestly, he's a romantic, and he's funny, and he's charming, and it's just, it's a beautiful show. And it helped me, especially because it is Autism Awareness Month, even though according to Diamond Art Club on their banner, it's Autism Awareness Month. I had a good laugh about that. If you go and look at the banner on their email about Autism Awareness Month, it says Autism Awareness Month. Anyways, it's not their fault. Boo-boos happen. But I got a good giggle out of it either way. It is Autism Awareness Month, and so because of that, you should honestly go check out Love on the Spectrum on Netflix if you have it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful and heartwarming and wonderful. And I'm sure I'll have to remember to talk more about it, and like my experiences with regard to autism and my own love on the spectrum, because it's like there's a lot to it, you know what I mean? Like, my own experience with love on the spectrum can be challenging sometimes. It can be really rewarding. It can be really beautiful, but it's our way of loving each other. And so I think in honor of Autism Awareness Month, I will talk a little bit about my own love on the spectrum, but I'll talk about it more next WIP and Chat. I will have to remember to actually do that, but I think I will leave that there for now. I want to make sure that I get to the tarot card for our thought for the week before, you know, I'm in here for several hours just talking away about this show that I love, because it really is just, it's beautiful. It's lovely and heartwarming, and I love it. I know I said that like multiple times, but it's true. Okay. Let me just gonna make sure I don't have any ones I was missing. No, sir. It's looking really good though, isn't it? It's a good render. I'm impressed. Okay, let me put that back. And then, all right, here we go. I've already shuffled the cards. So now we are just getting our thought for the week. And, ooh, boobies. The Dark Lady. And can I, hold on, put some tape on her boobs. I'm going to cover her boobs because it's really a beautiful image. I don't want you to miss the image because there's boobies, but I'm going to put a little bit of tape there. There we go. Now you can't see her boobs. It's a really beautiful image. The Dark Lady. This would be a beautiful diamond painting. I mean, granted, like boobies, but still, like even like they're up would be really beautiful. The Dark Lady, and she is right side up. So let's set those there. The Dark Lady. Let's see what our thought for the week is. The Dark Lady. The Dark Lady. Okay. It says, unconscious power and wisdom, rituals, mysteries, boobs, and secrets. We may reach the realm of the Dark Lady through grief, through deep surrender, through ecstasy, or through profound ritual. This card in a reading suggests that it is time to withdraw from the ordinary world to revitalize ourselves through retreat and surrender to the source. Unity and the song of ecstasis. This is a time of preparation for rebirth, of restoration and regeneration. What is hidden is getting ready to be revealed. Celebrate this passage through the unknown, rich, fertile, hidden realms of the Dark Lady. This is the time in the natural cycle of life when we open ourselves to and receive the inflowing energies of Himself, when we become powerful, overflowing with the life force. It may also be a time of prophecy, magic, and foretelling of the potentials of the future, the potentials. I don't know how I was going to say that, of the future, a time of self-awareness, self-knowledge, and encounters with the hidden worlds. Meditate, retreat, seek serenity and inner peace. Okay. So whenever this is like a thought for the week, it seems to me like it's time to, like, if there's a grieving that's happening in your life, and this like, I don't know, this, what am I trying to say here? Hold on. Grief, deep surrender, withdraw from the ordinary. I feel like when it comes to a thought for the week, we need to move through our grief. One, not to ignore it. I think that oftentimes when it comes to moving through grief of any kind, whether that's grieving the loss of a loved one, or the loss of an item, the loss of a friendship, the loss of anything, that we forget to feel what we're feeling. We forget to really understand it and embrace it. My in-laws, they lost one of their dogs this week, one of their sweet Boston Terriers. And, you know, while that doesn't affect me specifically, it affects them. And in essence, like, I have to remember for myself that other people are in their own worlds. And so, one, I need to be cognizant of the fact that others around me are experiencing life on life's terms in their own ways. And I need to maybe offer a little patience to that. And so, as a thought for the week for you as well, I would remind you that while we do get really engrossed, I think, and just entrenched in our own crap, that we also take the time to remember that those around us have their own stuff. And while we may not think of it in terms of, you know, that they're falling apart and whatever, because they don't show it. You know, they say check on your strong friends. There's a whole lot going on right now. And so whether that's somebody, you know, who owns a business and they're struggling right now because there's so many question marks, whether that's a person in your life who is having a crap go of something, and maybe like my in-laws, they had a loss of some kind, or, you know, they just broke up with their significant other, or they just lost a job, or they're maybe not reaching out to you to say, hey, I'm struggling, but maybe you could just check in and ask, hey, are you struggling? Not because I see you struggling, but because you're a strong person, and maybe you're just not the type who would jump right out and ask for help. So instead, I'm going to offer it. How are you? Are you good? Are you cool? Can I do anything? And mean it, and really, really mean it. I think that it's that self-awareness can get you pretty far, but don't forget to lift your head up out of your own crap and look at others and see how they're doing and what they're doing, and acknowledge that their feelings are valid and real, and the potentials of all of that, you know. So I guess my interpretation on the thought for the week on this one is just check in with people and remind them that you know that they're awesome and powerful and amazing, but they're also human beings, and there's a potential that they're going through some stuff. And while they may not be, you know, outwardly flailing under the water, maybe they're going nuts, but on the surface, they're cool, calm, and collected. You know what I mean? So check in on your strong friends and help them maybe even to seek that self-awareness and that self-knowledge and serenity and inner peace, because they may not even realize that they're floundering in some kind of way. They may not even realize that they're feeling nervous or scared or sad. They could be burying themselves in work and just trying to pretend life around them doesn't exist. Could be any number of these things. And so that's why it is really vital to just check in. Just check in. I don't know why, but the way I'm reading the card this time is just checking in on your strong friends. I got a weird feeling. And so I'm going to check in on some of my strong friends too, because you just don't know. You just don't know. And I would hate to think that there could be somebody out there who is really struggling and I didn't think to ask, and I was so wrapped up in my own crap that I didn't even notice. Because we can tend to put our heads down and sort of, it's sort of like when you're weathering a storm and you are bracing yourself against the wind, but you're not noticing that the person next to you is not even wearing a coat and they're freezing to death or whatever. just good to check in and make sure that they're good, you know. Just ask, hey, you good, man? Because I'm here if you need me. Reminding people that they don't have to wait until it's too much and too overwhelming before they ask somebody to give them a hand, you know. I don't know. That feels like the right message this time, I think. Because yeah, I know that when I'm struggling, I don't always let anybody know that that's the case, because I figure, well, I can do this. I've been doing this my whole life. I'm going to do it this time. Because when it comes to even people who are sober, handling life on life's terms sometimes can really get to be a lot. And so, yeah, I think I've got some people this week that I want to check in on. Can you think of any people that you want to check in on this week? Because I think I have a few people that I need to poke my head in on. Anyways, I think that's all I've got, y'all. I'm going to continue this square, get this done, and then get this video edited so I can post it for you. But you guys are amazing. You know, I love being around you and having you in my life. I couldn't do it without you. And if you're checking on me as one of your strong friends, don't worry, I'm good right now. I'm good. But let me know how you're doing and whether or not you need anything from me, because I would be happy to give you a shoulder to cry on, an ear to yell into. Okay, maybe don't yell in my ear, but you know what I mean. If you need somebody to stand there with you against the wind while you scream into it, I'm your dude, okay? Otherwise, you guys, as I always say, I hope that, and I truly hope that wherever you are in this great, big, wide, wonderful, scary, confusing sometimes, but beautiful world that we live in, that you are having a glorious and wonderful morning, evening, or afternoon, whatever time it is, wherever you are. All right, you guys, I'll see you on the next one, okay? Bye-bye.